Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, the grandmammies, the grandpappies, the people who can't see but listen to us on the air through some radio contraption, welcome to another edition of the Sideline Junkies Podcast Network in conjunction with Clear Production Sports. Today we got a little special thing going. We got the JC and the BC connection. It's the gentleman, Jack Carr. It's the Midnight Rider. Welcoming you to our Sunday morning edition of the Sunday Rise. Jack Carr,
Hey,
how you doing, sir?
I'm doing well this morning. How about you?
I'm doing good, man. Are you ready to have fun? Let's not even do the fist bump. We ain't got to do all that. We can just get it going, baby.
You can just get it going.
Yes, sir. And the first topic, we're going to have to go into the NHL. We got to talk about the Edmonton Oilers forcing a Game 7. Coming back from being down 3-0. Now they made it 3-3. Jack, any thoughts, any ideas of what's going on? How is Edmonton doing this? Talk to me, brother.
Edmonton's doing this because they're showing what kind of team they are. You know, they're a scoring team, and they've been doing that these last 3 games. Heyman's dishing the puck around, and they did what I thought they were going to do. I wasn't sure they were going to make it to Game 7, but I knew they would show up.
Yeah, I think the best thing about this whole thing is Edmonton's gotten back to their nature, which is being a scoring heavy, a goal heavy team, and somehow or some way, the problem is Florida has forgotten what got them here. Like, they just don't play the same. They haven't played the same hockey game since Game 3. It's like Florida went into a matrix and forgot all the things they did to be right and to be in this situation. And now they're searching. And we always talk about this. We said momentum, even when the Dollar Series was going on with Boston. We said momentum is a thing. But we're seeing momentum be a thing. And I think the difference with hockey is you can always have this situation where momentum changes the course of the game or changes the course of a series. What you think about that?
No doubt. And, coming back from 3-0 is not done often.
Right.
You know, there's only been 3 teams in NHL history to do this. And the only team to win was all the way back in 1942, Toronto Maple Leafs, I believe it was. Is it Toronto? Yep. Yes. So, Game 7, everybody's got to come out on that ice Monday night and just leave it all on the ice. That's the only way to go about a Game 7.
And the beauty of Game 7 is this hockey. And hockey Game 7s are unique in the aspect of there's a mystical or historical feature to it. I always say that hockey has the best Game 7 of any sport, because if you get a Game 7 and it goes into overtime, everything's on the line. It's just it's the utopia of being a sports fan. When I think of like why we like sports and why sports are even exists. Game 7s are special.
No, it would be awesome to see a Game 7 go overtime, maybe 2. That would be something you could just put down in the books. But the best team going to win tonight. Monday night. We'll see.
So in this idea of talking about Game 7s, teams making comebacks, since we're in this place where sports is, we have a little gap in sports. Let's talk about comebacks that we've seen, the epic comebacks or the great comebacks. Like I would even start where we talked about. I think we talked about in the pre-show, like the Buffalo Bills with Frank Reich coming back from being down against the Houston Oilers. Like, we've seen some great comebacks in this world, whether it's a single game or it's a series. What you think, Jack? You got one?
That 2004 Red Sox World Series comeback versus the Yankees is one I think of.
That's the great one.
That's
Oh my gosh.
I watched every game of that series, every inning, every pitch. It was amazing. And I
Didn't that
mean,
come? Didn't that comeback get triggered by a stolen base by who was the runner? Dave Roberts. Dave Roberts stole second and got in safe, and that kind of triggered the comeback, right?
it seems to remember. I seem to remember that now. 2004. That's a bit ago for this guy's brain right now.
That's 20 years ago. That's the crazy part about this. We're talking
Yes,
about 20 years ago,
it was. Yeah,
and and I think that because I remember that only reason, well, not the only, but part of the reason I remember that is because they built this movie called Fever Pitch around that series. So it's
yes,
a rom-com, but that series, like, they literally filmed the end of the movie thinking that the Yankees were going to defeat Boston, and it was just going to be part of this guy's story. And then when Boston made the comeback, they literally had to reshoot the last part of the movie to make it fit. And then they even took them. I think it's Drew Barrymore and Jimmy Fallon. They took them to the World Series and watched and had them close out and had them being there. That's how that series changed everything in the world. Like, it wasn't, that series was so inspirational that the movie that was built around it had to change its ending just to fit the scenario.
yeah. And they beat the Yankees. That was good.
Always beating the Yankees is good.
I'm not a fan of either team, but I dislike the Yankees more.
And then we had the Golden State Warriors, supposedly the greatest team ever. Um, hold on. That was an ACL. Yeah. Jack, we're on that. Yeah, I totally agree. They were both in the American League. But what we're talking about is just those comebacks, period. We're not talking about like World Series championships or
No,
whatever.
right.
We're just talking about individual comebacks.
I think it was an
Jack,
ACL. It was an ALCS, right?
yeah, it was an ALCS.
Yeah.
And I think the year before was the year where Aaron Boone hit the home run in Game 7 to send the Yankees on. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just one of those things where both, like, the good things about certain rivalries is you have these landmarks where teams end up showing in great spaces. Like, you have these moments where the series or a game changes the dynamic and it makes the rivalry more important than it was before, even though it was important in the beginning. But
Yeah.
we're getting to a spot where it's more important or it means more because what's on the line matters more. So in terms of that, I thought of, like, we were talking about, or I kind of brought up in passing, the series with the Golden State Warriors and the Cleveland Cavaliers, where Cleveland was down. I think they were down 3-1, and they had to make a comeback to finish that series off with the great shot from Kyrie Irving.
Right.
We're in a world where sometimes these things happen, and it'd be great for Edmonton to come back and win it. I can just imagine Canada first getting his first title back, and then B, Edmonton coming back from down 3-0. Like, there's such a great scenario in all of that, and then winning in Florida.
Yeah.
Like, that's just crazy.
Yeah. It's a long ride home, win or lose.
Hey, but if you win, that ride ain't
Makes
that
that
long.
ride. It makes that ride much better. Everybody goes.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Jack, you good, baby. We know where you at. Jack, Boston won 18. Did you have to stroke a check to somebody or cash out somebody? I
Yeah,
don't
we're
know.
working on that now. He hit me up a couple of days ago. How you want to get paid, bro?
So for those that don't know, Jack Carr and Jack Wagner, friends for life, I guess.
Yes, sir.
There was an 18 championship bet. Whoever gets
Yeah.
the 18 first is what I'm
When
gathering.
Lakers won in the bubble,
Right.
I was all mad and I started ranting and raving. And next thing you know, it says 200 on 18. I said, bet. And I had thought at that time, even though the Lakers won that bubble championship, I had known at that time that Boston had a roster coming up. So I thought it was a good bet on my side.
I know it was a good bet on your side. I
but after last year, man, you never know.
I literally argue with my buddies. Like when Boston makes good moves, I have to measure my comments because he doesn't always see it the same way I did. Like he was the guy that when y'all traded from 1 to 3, you traded, and I think Orlando took Markelle Fultz or whoever took Markelle Fultz. That trade was the best trade you ever made. One of the best trades you ever made. The other trade that everybody talks about is the KG and Paul Pierce trade. I think that was, I watched the video this morning, and I think that was 9th in the list of all-time trades ever. And I think number 1, what was number 1? No, number 2, I think was Kobe to Charlotte for Vlade. If you want some perspective on that. Yeah. And I think 1, actually, I think 1 or 3 should have been, in all actuality, trading Joe Barry Carroll for Kevin McHale. That's another great trade that nobody talks about.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that one.
Yeah. So comeback wise, let's try to put a bow on this. In terms of comebacks, is there anything else you can think of? We talked about the Oilers coming back. I mean, Buffalo coming back on the Oilers. We talked about the Cavs coming back. Anything else sticks out in your mind?
This isn't a series comeback. This is just a comeback against a team that I despise. When Kansas came back on UNC in the Basketball National Championship back in 2022, down 15, beat them Tar Heels.
What we doing, Jack? We gonna do this, Jack?
I'm doing it. You want me to go change my hat?
No, we good, man. We good. You just like cutting deep. It's all good, man. Yeah. That was a good comeback. I give them that. Kansas did come back. It was crazy. I don't know. I don't think that one hurt more than the Chris Jenkins 3-point shot at the end of the ball game from half court.
It was a shot.
It's a hell of a shot. That kid, if he goes in the area where Villanova is, should never buy a drink or have to pay for a drink ever in his life.
Yeah, definitely not. I didn't think it would be him taking the shot, to tell you the truth, but I think defense was just there. He was the one that got the ball.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was.
I'm sure they wanted somebody like Grady Dick or a 3-point sniper to shoot it, but Jenkins put it up. And he's from the state of Maryland?
Yeah, I think he's I know he's a Gonzaga kid because Nate Britt was on Carolina. And I coached against them at Gonzaga when I was coaching high school basketball. And the whole time I was an assistant coach. My buddy Justin was an assistant. And like we sitting on the bench, and the whole time we keep looking at each other like, can he, the kid Britt, we just didn't think he had it. Like, why is he going to Carolina? Like, I didn't see anything special in that moment when I watched him play. And then I also had the same reaction the next year when I watched Kendall Marshall. I think he went to Good Counsel. And when I watched Kendall, I was just like, he's not special. But
Mm-hmm.
Kendall Marshall during that NCAA tournament run they had, I think he dropped somewhere. He dropped double-digit assists throughout the tournament run they had, and I had to apologize. I had to eat crow.
Every once in a while, you gotta put a little salt and pepper on that bird.
Hey, what? Make it do what it do.
That's right.
So now that we're done talking about Edmonton, let's take a step into a world that you and I are familiar with, and we like to talk about. Let's talk about a little baseball. What's going on with the Baltimore Orioles, man?
They fine.
They not fine.
Pitching needs pitching needs to straighten up a little bit, but the O's still there. I mean, they fine.
They not fine, man.
What they do? They
Maybe
they
it's
got,
personal because they cost me on two of my bets, but
that's fine.
but
I mean, I've done it before, but you can't. I think they're fine. Ain't like they lost six straight or nothing.
but here's the question, Jack, and I think they got to do something with their pitching staff. Like
No doubt.
I think they lost Kyle Bradish. They've lost a couple guys in the last couple of weeks, and I feel like they have so much talent on this team, and not even on the major league team, on their AAA and AA team, where they can make a move to get something to fill in. Because I think they can't. I saw Grayson. Is it Grayson Rodriguez?
Yeah, he threw the other night against Houston.
The other night, and he had a bad night. I just think Corbin Burns is going to do his thing. Corbin Burns is going to be solid the whole time, but I just think they got to either figure out that or figure out their way to the last inning, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. What's that boy's name? Ballman down in Mexico right now.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't see why they don't give him another shot.
Yeah,
Why did-
I think that's another thing. They've layered enough talent that if they want to stay in the farm system, they can do it. But I also think they have enough talent in the farm system in terms of hitters that you can't bring everybody up. You know, you got
No.
Santander, you got Mullins, you got all these guys, Mountcastle. If you're not moving off of them, then you need to move off of the kids that's behind them, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
And like this is what the Nats did a couple years ago. Well, actually not a couple, but 10 years ago. You know, people complained about the Nats farm system as if they didn't develop players, but they did. The problem is they were trading those guys. So they traded Ronaldo Lopez. They traded Lucas Giolito. They traded Jesus Luzardo. They were just trading guys to get other pieces. So it doesn't look like your farm systems. You're not developing people because you're moving those people on. And then the part where the Nationals actually kind of got taken was they held Victor Robles in a space where they didn't want to trade him for Realmuto. And I still think that should have been a trade they should have made. But what we got out of Victor Robles not being healthy when it was time to get called up was Juan Soto. Like sometimes in baseball, you get a gift from somebody not being able to show. And I just think the O's got to figure something out to get a better pitcher or better pitching in their system.
Yeah, I agree. And sometimes you got to use those picks to further develop your squad, but sometimes people use those minor leaguers and trade them off to try to get better today, and
Right.
that's not always a successful way to go about it.
Right.
You can get burned easy if you're trying to just make trades to be better today instead of building your program up. But the birds are gonna hit the ball. Like I say, we just got to keep the runs down. The other day was what
14-11 was one night.
Yeah, 14-11. Then we gave up another big night.
Yeah, last night you gave up. I forgot what it was. Yeah.
So we'll be all right. Orioles be all right. Just a little bump. Just a little bump.
I don't know, Jack. Y'all killing me today.
They'll be all right. But like I said, that
I think we got Corbin going today, so y'all should be okay today.
yeah,
And
Houston's
then we
playing a
got
little bit over their head right now.
who?
I think Houston is.
I think Houston's in their right spot.
Think
I
so?
think
It's
I think
going.
Houston. I think Houston is always going to be around. Um, Depending on the division, is where they're going to fall. And I don't mean that like. I think the the AL West is the perfect division to be in while you're trying to figure your team out because Seattle's not consistent enough. Um, Texas started out bad, and the Angels aren't going to be healthy and don't have enough pitching. So it's really just the Mariners,
Texas.
Texas, and Houston, and then
Yeah,
whoever fixes their ship the best is going to be the team that comes out of that. Because looking at the standings right now, Seattle's 45-34, Houston's 7 games on the 7 games back, Texas 7.5, and the Mariners aren't really running away, or they aren't a team that I look at and be like, all right, that's the best team. Like they're just a team to me. And I think the beauty of baseball is we get July and August. And I think
mhm.
we always talk about the dog days of baseball. Well, July and August are the dog days of baseball. And whatever run you did to start the season kind of comes back to the truth. Like you fall back into your reality when it comes to July and August. What you think about that?
Yeah. No, it's definitely a long season, and you're right about Houston. They do just hang around, just close enough. Been doing that for the last 5 years. Uh, yeah, I think Houston and Texas in that division, really, even though Seattle's in first right now by 7.
Right.
It's a long season, man.
And you know what? It's funny you even said that because that was my initial thought. I think that with Houston um I'm not Seattle, Houston and Texas, I think both teams haven't played their best baseball yet, and all
Correct.
that run because you know how it goes. I mean, we had that one year where what was it, the A's won like 21 ball games and got themselves back into the playoff picture and ended up losing to the Yankees on I think it was a Game 7 situation. It's built around the movie Moneyball. Like
Yeah.
you have these teams that have these runs. I think there was one year where the Mets had like this 11-game lead, and the Atlanta Braves came back in August and September and surpassed them. Like no lead is safe in baseball because of the way baseball is played.
Follow the bouncing ball.
Yes, sir. And on the other side, the National League, the senior division, the Nats are like 8 of the last 12, I think. Um, they're still getting good pitching. They're actually pitching above their weight class. What are your thoughts, or do you have any thoughts on the Nationals and their opportunity to maybe be relevant this year, a year earlier than they're supposed to?
I think they need some help in that hitting lineup. Victor Robles got off last night, triple away from hitting the cycle. Um, I'm sorry, Abrams, not Robles,
I know who
Abrams.
you meant. I knew who you meant.
Abrams hit well last night. Like I said, a triple away from the cycle, hitting for the cycle. I think is very impressive. And he's the only stick that I see to worry about in that lineup.
Winker,
Pitching has been better than I thought it would be from what we said in our preseason stuff. I didn't think Washington's pitching would be what it is, but they're getting the job done as best they can, and they're not, they're doing better than I thought they would to start the season.
no, I think this is the catbird seat. I think them I think at one point they had an 11-game stretch where their pitching staff was giving up like 1.47 earned runs Um, and I think that is what has catapulted them. That and their ability to run. I think they know who they are.
Yes.
They know they can't. They're not going to long ball you. They're not going to home run you, but they will run you or run themselves into runs to win ball games. And because of their aggressiveness, that is how they're relevant right now in this spot and in this series. And I think they're 2 games below 500. Um, they lost the heartbreaker last night on
Yeah.
on the pitch clock. That's the
Mm-hmm.
crazy thing. Like it
First
was
ever.
a 7 ball game, bases were loaded, and the pitch clock is what killed them last night in Colorado. So they come back today, um, and we're going to see. We get an opportunity to see or get to figure out what this team is made of. They've been resilient the whole time, so we'll see what happens. So it looks like today they have Jake Irvin going against Kyle Freeland. And Irvin's been probably the guy, their most consistent guy. And he might even be their best pitcher to date right now. So that's crazy.
And you look at it, 13 games back already, but the Phillies are hot. Phillies at 50-26 record right now. 13 games back, the Nats are from them. That's
not even an issue though, because I think where the Nats are in this situation of this rebuild is they're more about fitting into the wild card. And the way the National League is set up, everybody's in there's 2 teams that are out of the wild card, and everybody else is close to it or in the hunt. Like you got like a 10-team squabble around the wild card situation, the last wild card spot. So that's a good thing for them.
Yeah.
And I think if they get I think what's the kid's name? James Wood. You got Dylan Cruz. Like they have options. So I think the one situation that fans of the Nationals have to be comfortable with is that we're going to move off of some guys, and you're going to call up some young guys this year.
Mm-hmm.
So don't take like trading a Kyle Finnegan. Don't take trading a Hunter Harvey as this team giving up. They're actually making themselves better in the future. This is a team that traded John Lester and got Lane Thomas, and Thomas has been nothing but an all-star the last 2 years. So now you're getting the results that you want from making moves that people would think marginal. And I think this is one of the reasons why I feel like Mike Rizzo is one of the best general managers in baseball. They made a trade a couple years ago where they got Tanner Roark, and nobody knew who Tanner Roark was. And lo and behold, during their runs in the playoffs, Tanner Roark was a major cog in their pitching staff.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so you got anything else you want to talk about in this baseball situation?
No, not now.
All right. So, lo and behold, we are a couple days after the great Willie Mays passing away. And we kind of came up with this topic, or I came up with this idea through listening to all the fellas in the Sideline Junkies. But like, is there an athlete you wish you could have seen in your lifetime? I think is the best way to frame this. I know you got a list, Jack, and I know you're not going to surprise me or shock me because you always put a person on their list when you do lists that nobody's thinking about. Help me out. Go ahead. Talk to me.
Yeah. My list pretty straightforward today. I might have somebody you don't think, but And this gentleman's career was cut short by tragedy. I was probably 4 years old when he passed. I'd love to have seen Roberto Clemente play live.
Yeah, all right. All right. So
That
I might have to take a step back because I think our list gonna be too close. So I'm gonna let you go through your whole list before I even say any amount.
well, I got pitchers and I got field players, position
Okay.
players, and Ted Williams.
Yes.
How could you not wanted to see a hitter like that? You know, we watch all the video. We won't. But yeah, I'd love to see Ted Williams. Ted Williams took time out, like a lot of them ball players did, to have to go serve in the military and then come back on and just picked up where he left off. Uh, Mickey Mantle, another
Yes.
ball player, and Jackie Robinson. I don't know, what he went through. First of all, I don't know how it would have been to watch him live at that point in where the world was, where the country was, with all the racism and all that, and not wanting the black players to play in the league. Who knows? But just wanting to see the ball player and not see all the junk, that would have been nice. And he also,
So do you know the story about his brother?
huh?
Do you know the story about his brother?
No, sir. Fill me in.
All right. So in 1936, Jesse Owens finished first in the 100 meters and set a world record.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that finished second was Jackie Robinson's brother. And
What was his name?
his time actually broke a record. I can't remember his first name. But his time also broke a record. So it was like the top two finishers both broke world records. But of course, the first place person ends up being the record holder. And I think his brother ended up being a janitor at a California high school.
Really?
Yeah. So he literally finishes a couple milliseconds behind Jesse Owens, and yeah, he goes on to obscurity,
Mm-hmm.
and then having the most famous baby brother of all time.
His name was Mac.
Yeah. Okay.
Matthew, but they called him Mac.
Okay.
Okay, yeah, I didn't. Like I say, I've done book reports on Jackie Robinson when I was a kid. I don't remember hearing that story. It wasn't in my book.
Hey, when you come to the sideline junkies, you get a little bit of everything, baby.
And I wasn't sure if you were talking. You first, I thought you were talking baseball players, but now I hear you're saying athletes. So basically, listed a lot of baseball players. My pitchers include Sandy Koufax, Cy Young, Satchel Paige, Don Drysdale.
So I saw Satch. I think Satch had to be 60 at this point in time.
Okay.
But back in the day, you could go to RFK, and it was a Legends game that came to the city every year. And my dad and my uncle used to always take me to it. So every year we see like Luke Appling.
Oh, you had to be young.
You see all the greats from the 70s. Johnny Bench. You name them, they were there. And that's kind of like my only experience of seeing those guys. So I could only imagine them in their heyday. Like you say Satchel Paige, I think the one guy that I would love to have seen is Bob Gibson.
Mm-hmm.
Because Bob Gibson is I don't know if you ever heard this story, but there was one situation where Michael Jordan and Wilt Chamberlain were in the room, and they were talking about being great or what makes you great. And Michael kept telling him about all the stuff he did, and Will looked at him and said, "There's one difference between me and you." And he said, "The difference is they made rules to hold me back. They made rules to make you successful. That's the
Wow,
difference between me and you being great.
that's deep.
Yeah. I love that conversation. Every time I think about it, it's I always stick to it, always thinking about it. Like the difference between greatness. And for him to say it that way, it's like damn. Yeah. So who
Definitely.
else you got on your list, Jack?
Uh, Pete Maravich.
Oh, yes, sir.
I was just seeing some videos a couple days ago. People think he was just a scorer, man. He was a wizard with that pill, man. He could dish out dimes left, right, sideways, upside down. He was just passing the ball so well, and he was just full of energy. It was watching videos of him is amazing. I couldn't imagine growing up in that era.
I think
That
there's
would
a
have been
video with him. Yeah, it's a video with him, Red Auerbach, and I forget the other player. Because Red Auerbach used to do this series where he would do it was like teaching moments with different players. And he would teach like the fundamentals of basketball. And Pete Maravich had this thing where he would do a touch pass without touch, like he would tap the basketball without actually like making a throw. And Red was big on like you throwing the basketball, showing the form.
thumbs down. Yeah,
Thumbs down. There it is, baby. Oh
Mhm.
man. Shout out
yeah.
to Al Woods. I mean, what was Mr. Woods' name? I don't even know, but Coach Woods was one of my coaches, and he used to hit us over the head like thumbs down when you make your chest pass for sure.
Mhm.
Man. God dang, boy, you bringing up some old school memories now.
Thumbs down. They taught us the same way. And
And
you bringing up Red Auerbach brought back something I meant to mention on one of me and you's previous shows we was on when we were talking about 18 and the Celtics, and KG says, I smell that cigar burning, Big Red's lighting his cigar. Well, when I was a youngster, probably 20 years old, my boss had season tickets to the Wizards.
uh-huh.
And he knew I was a Celtics fan, so he invited me and my cousin Tim to go to the Celtics Wizards games. Man, this was some of the best seats I ever been in my life. I was like second row. And so we're sitting there, and my boss nudges me on the shoulder, says, turn around. I said, what's up? He said, just turn around. I turned around. Red Auerbach sitting right behind us. My boss was just saying, who's got better seats than Red Auerbach? Me. And that was J.R. Robinson. God bless J.R. Robinson up there in heaven. He was a good man to us. So towards the late in the fourth quarter, he keeps elbowing me. He says, you got your lighter ready? Got your lighter ready? I said, what you talking about? He said, light red cigar. I said, oh, that'd be cool. So by the time the horn went, I turned around, he already had it lit, man. And Red Auerbach smoked a cigar behind me when I was 20 years old.
so we're opening the wormhole. Let's go in the wormhole. So I had a connection. Well, I didn't have it. My dad had it. One of the guys he's worked with, his daughter worked for Home Team Sports, and I said this a couple of times on the podcast. So I'll never forget. We get a phone call. She's like, "Hey, I got 3 tickets for the Atlanta Hawks, and this is Atlanta Hawks with Spud Webb, Dominique Wilkins, and I forget who else is on that team. Oh, I think that's John Concack. Actually, I do know. It's John Battle. It's Randy Whitman, Doc Rivers, that Tree Rollins, all on that squad. And this is probably like 86, 87. Um, so we get the phone call, and I'm like, all right, cool. Yeah, my dad will be in a little bit. I'll tell him you got tickets waiting for us at Will Call. So we walk in to Will Call, grab the tickets. And I'm like, all right. When we dealt with her, our tickets could be in 407 or
Cool.
107.
Yeah, I don't sit up top.
So I saw the Celtics. So the one time we saw the Celtics through her, it was, I think we were like 400 section. It was me, my dad. It was Jesus, Moses, Saint Peter, and God. Right? But this day when we saw the Hawks, we were literally greatest experience I ever had. I was on the floor, like on the wood, toes touching the wood, seats, front row. Like literally, my sister's like, I hope there's not a loose ball because I don't want anybody landing in our laps. And me, I'm like,
loose ball, I'm
come
grabbing.
on, come on, let's just,
Bring it.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? That's
I had
probably one of
seats.
the
Go
that's
ahead.
probably one of the best experiences I've had. But I think my
I
son
had seats at Cleveland
uh-huh.
similar to that. For actually for LeBron's homecoming, I was at that in Cleveland,
Oh,
and
get out of here,
that was
Jack.
pretty awesome because my daughter was still young. She might have been 13. How long
Uh-huh.
has he been in LA now? About 5 years.
5 too many.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there, and she points out a player with a cast on his hand working out in a hoodie. And
Mm-hmm.
guess who that was with the Lakers? Rajon Rondo, one of my favorite point guards ever, one of the smartest basketball players to play the game. Rondo was down there working with his left hand. His right hand was in a cast. So I'm talking to Rondo, and I had my Duke hat on because Duke was playing, I want to say, Final Four. We lost
Okay.
to Gonzaga, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my Duke hat on, and he ain't like that. He said Duke like that. And then I just, said, "Love you in Boston, baby." And then here comes LeBron out, and they moved us back. They wouldn't even let us stand as close as we were when we were talking to Rondo when LeBron came out. But that was one of the big games that I've been to. My time was LeBron's homecoming to Cleveland, and we were right behind the floor seats. That was a good time. And the
So let me
game's
ask
a lot different when you're watching it down in that lower seats versus 400 sections. You got much better game to watch.
well, I mean, at that time when we were in the 400s, it was the Celtics at their peak. That was probably 84. It's the year
Yeah,
before the 85. The team, the best Boston team was like 85, right? With
yep.
Walton and company being a Walton was a six man. So yeah, I think we were 84 when that happened. I also got the chance to go to Cole Fieldhouse um, because my dad's friend, Grayson Marshall, who was a official at that time in the area, his son Grayson Marshall Jr. played for Clemson. And at that
Okay.
time, Clemson had two guys on their team with the last name Grant, Horace and Harvey Grant.
Yes.
So I saw that team live against Maryland, but I think that might have been the year after. No, I don't know if I don't think I saw Bias. So I think that was 87.
I seen a lot of Lenny. I played with Lenny in pickup ball down the quad.
Talk about that.
Well, we was playing. He was on my team. We was playing against some boys from DC, and they was
Mm-hmm.
just ripping Lenny the whole time, man. Hard fouls. Come on, Mister All American. What you got here? What you got here? And after about 4 or 5 points and all the hacking and smack talking, I mean, it was more than smack talking. They were just being disrespectful.
Right.
Lenny picked up his bag and left, man. He just left.
Yeah,
He
because he
was
knew
just,
it was more important. That
yeah, I
so
mean,
so 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 me hearing when I mean we all probably know where we were, and actually let's just jump into this. KG,
sure.
we segueing. Um, where you were when you heard about Lenny passing.
I was at the house. It was as soon as we got up, I heard about it. And then me and my boys rode up to Leland Hospital on our bikes. We were a mile and a half, 2 miles away from Leland Hospital. And I was up there for probably 2, 3 hours. And I seen them bring Lenny out and put him in the coroner station wagon. when they took
Wow.
him to Baltimore. Yeah,
So
it was hard.
no, so for me, the connection to Lynn was through his grandfather. So his grandfather used to sit or used to be over here in Southeast. And I kind of knew who he was, but I didn't know who he was, type of thing. I was probably was that 84, so maybe I'm 8 at that time. Not trying to age you out, Jack, but
Yeah, I was like, whew, I was like 16.
yeah, right. So it's like I see it, and I see it affect all the old guys because it's Lenny's grandfather, it's my dad, my uncle. It's a bunch of guys from at that time it was the Elks Lodge that they all used to go to, and those dudes would sit there, food, would do whatever, but I felt more of it because of seeing him go through it because I wasn't probably at an age where it made sense to me. And I think I found out when I got home. So I went to school or I was out somewhere, and when I came back in the house,
Yeah, no, it wasn't school time.
yeah, I think
We
it
was
was in
out
the
of
summer.
school.
So yeah, so my dad's face said it all. I'll never forget. I walked in and he was like, blah blah blah. Lynn Bias passed away, and I was like, okay, but then when I realized the connection, that's when it made more sense or it hurt more. But him being a Celtic, I was just like, yeah.
Oh man, we were ready for that. My sister actually dated Jay's brother. I mean, Lenny's brother Jay. Either
Oh,
dated
okay.
him or was in the same crowd with him. I think they might have dated a little bit. She
Mm-hmm.
dated Thurl Bailey's brother Saul too. I know she dated Saul. He came over my house with two big ass Rottweilers, man, in his car. I was like, get away, get away. I mean, 140-pound Rottweilers in the back seat. And then, but yeah, Lenny was just the way I knew of him. He was at Greenbelt Junior High. That's where he went to middle school. Junior high, I think it was junior high at his time. It was middle school when I went through that age group. Uh, he was just easy going. Jay was the hothead. Jay was the one you never knew what he was going to do, and then seemed to get a little worse after Lenny's passing because Jay ended up getting mixed up with a married woman at a jewelry store in Prince George's Plaza Mall, and he got shot in the back parking lot of there. So God bless Miss Bias, man, to lose two sons that close apart.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That was something. But see, I always was in the mix with like Maryland basketball players and stuff because, when you're running the courts all around the area, you could be down Turkey Thicket, you could be down Rock Creek Park, you could be at the Quad right there at Maryland. You always run into guys. I had X-Ray Hip, Johnny Rose, Dwayne Simpkins, one of
Johnny
my
Rose.
favorites, Walt Williams, the Wizard. Walt probably still recognizes me today. He probably would, because we used to go to see him up at the Cellar. That was one of the bars in College Park. And
Mm-hmm.
Walt got to know me and my boy Jack Wagner right here. And anytime he see me, he'd be like, "Where little Jack at?" I'm like, he around. But Walt was probably the best straightforward one out of it. Johnny Simpkins and them, Johnny Simpkins and them, I didn't get along with them too well.
So
Walt,
Dwayne actually, what was he? I think he was 4 or 5 years ahead of me.
Dwayne
Um,
Simpkins, Johnny Rhodes, my bad.
no, you good because Dwayne was a couple years ahead of me. So
Mm-hmm.
every time, I think when I was in the fifth grade, he was a freshman at DeMatha. But I always saw him play. Like it was Dwayne Simpkins, George McDaniels, and it was somebody else. There was a bunch of guys on like at my middle school. I went to Our Lady of Perpetual Help, and like those guys were like the guys. So I would always travel with the older teams, because I just wanted to see them play ball. Like I love watching those guys play, and they had some of the best teams in the city. I think we won the Mid Atlantic tournament one year for middle schools. But Johnny Rhodes, I'll never forget my introduction to him was at Fort Stanton in DC, and I just so happened to have my North Carolina jersey on, and like him and his buddy had like he had one of the worst jumpers in the world, but it always went in. Like
Jamal
it was
Williams.
like you just like yo, this can't go in, and of course it's nothing but the bottom of the net. And yeah, Johnny cooked me. I think it was Johnny Rhodes. I played against Damon Jackson that played for Georgetown. Who else? It was another Georgetown kid. The dribbler. What is his name? He went to Anacostia. Oh, I can't think of this guy's name. Oh, Ed Sheffield. Ed Sheffield had a basketball on the string, and like his only problem was he played college basketball for the wrong coach. Like I think if Ed Sheffield had gone anywhere else in the country, we'd probably be talking about him in some of the same light of like guys like God Sham God and Kenny Anderson. But because he went to Georgetown, I think his game got squashed a little bit in that setting.
And that was 84, 85-ish, or?
No, so this is 90s because these guys were the guys I played against in like late high school, early college years. So like we talking like 93, 94, 95 era.
Oh, okay. So Iverson already been through Georgetown by then.
So
Right?
Iverson was at Georgetown when we were going up to Georgetown.
Got it.
So that's how I bumped into Jahadi White. So yeah. I'm in a party at Georgetown. The DJ doesn't show. So we play. Somebody's like, "Oh, I got this CD," and it's Notorious B.I.G. Was it Ready to Die? So they throw Ready to Die on, and we don't change anything. The whole night is Ready to Die playing from front to end. And in the midst of all of that, I was always the lead guy whenever we walk through parties. And I never forget, I look back at my buddies to make sure everybody's behind me. And when I turn around, there's just this big black wall. Well, it wasn't a wall, it was Jahadi White. And like I bumped into him, and I never forget, I look up because I'm like, God, like what's going on?
He was a mass. He was a huge man.
If Jahadi could only catch.
Yeah, hands of stone.
Hands of stone. If he could catch, oh my God.
You bringing back memories, man. Me and my boys, we used to go up in the party. We go in the party, and see, you talking about CDs. Nah, we had a mixtape in our back pocket,
Uh-huh.
Either mixtape or a nice fresh live go-go tape we got. And, you throw it up there, put it on side B. You always get it ready in the truck, right? Put it on side B. So we used to come in and just take over parties with our mixtapes and stuff.
God. Hey, man. That's why the Ice calls you PG's finest, baby.
We had some good times. We was all over the place. Man, we was deep. Jack could tell you. But I didn't play ball with many Georgetown. I did play with Sleepy Floyd. That was fun. I was just throwing the ball up. He was tearing it down. I played with him at Turkey Thicket down there at
I know what Turkey
Avenue.
Dude. So I played baseball. I used to go to Archbishop Carroll. So our baseball field was Turkey Thicket.
Yep.
So we used to have to drag the field because they really didn't take care of the fields at that time.
No, I used to criticize it with my dad a lot because I worked for my dad when I got out of high. I worked for him in high school a little bit too. I'd be like, "What's up with that baseball field over there?" So y'all had to take care of it yourself.
Yeah,
I never seen it lined
or whatever. And then the moment I had at my biggest Turkey Thicket moment was I was playing in a summer league Um, we were playing. We were just a bunch of vagabonds in Southeast DC, and we ended up playing Coolidge at Turkey Thicket. Um, I take a baseball to the ear hole.
Ooh.
Um, all I hear is as I'm walking to first. All I hear is bells. Uh, I'm so mad that when I get on first, I go first to second, second to third on steals, and I almost took home. I tried. I thought about taking home, but I didn't. And then my boy like grounds out and it ends the inning. And in the back of my mind, I'm like, I should have just tried to take home because I
You
was
was that
so.
bad. You was taking home, huh?
I was trying to. I thought about it.
I ain't never steal home.
I did. I didn't take home. I didn't steal home, but I thought about it.
Oh hell, I thought about it too, but I knew I couldn't do it.
I knew I couldn't. I wasn't sure if I could, but I was trying to
Yeah,
keep us in the inning. That's the only reason because I think we were at 2 outs, and I didn't want to make the last out at home because
I
I'd have
don't
got
never want to make the last out at home.
yeah.
Huh. And I also this here, this is a story. Do you remember when Manute Bowl was with the Wizards and they was
Yeah,
trying to beef him up with potatoes and beer?
yeah.
He got a couple DUIs and he blamed them all on the Bullets, not the Wizards. He used to be down in Greenbelt all the time, and then he had family in a town called Berwyn Heights.
Okay,
And
yeah.
me,
I know what
me,
you're talking about.
me and my boys used to go to the YMCA rec center. It was at an old elementary school in Berwyn Heights at Berwyn Elementary, and we get our open gym on. Well, we come in there one time. I see Manute's cousin. I can't remember his name to save my life. We played with him several times. But Manute's big ass was in the gym. The All Stars were away at Denver that year playing in the All Star game. So Manute had time and he came home. So Manute's talking trash. I mean, he's 7'80", dude. And ain't
Right.
none of us over 6'2". And he's throwing our shots, talking about stay down, little man. Just talking big junk. So I think it's coming to point game. My team's up, and I come down on a break and throw a no-look bounce pass right between Manute's legs, and my buddy Keith St. Dennis grabs it, makes the layup. God bless you, Keith. And we win the game. So I get my ball and my gym bag and my shoes, and I walk to the door. I said, Manute, if you was worth anything, you'd be in Denver with the rest of the All-Stars. Shut the up. And I ran out of that gym. I ain't want to get punched from up there. But yeah, that was the last time I seen Manute. He used to be all around town. You see him at the mall. You see him. I mean, you can't miss him. But yeah, that's just back to me playing with a lot of guys in the area.
No,
And
that's the experience. I mean, this area puts you in places to have the ability to play against ballers and play against people that you just don't know. You just don't even think about. You know, and the fact that they're right there in your face. I would have loved to have played against Iverson for sure. But that never happened. But the guys,
nah, I think I was at the same party with him one night, but nah, I never
well,
seen him on
so
the court.
if we talking about parties, I know one night we went to a spot. What was it called? I forget the name of the place, but I'll never forget. Shaq came in,
Who?
and you knew it was Shaq. Um, it was probably 2000. I don't think it was 2001. I don't think it was the year that the All-Star game was here. Z Alley. That's what it was. It was the Alley. He came in, he walked around the whole joint, and then he just left out. He didn't stay for long. So yeah,
Was
like
this Pro Shaq or LSU Shaq?
this would have been Pro Shaq.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's other situations because this city gives you access to a lot of people. But
It does.
Jack, we had an hour.
Yeah. Already?
Only at this time, we do a little thing called "What are you eating?"
Okay. I've
So,
seen
do
this
you
before.
have anything on the menu for this evening or any plans that what's something that you're cooking tonight?
Okay. Well, honestly, I'm getting ready to go in here and make me some hot dogs. I don't know if I'm gonna fire the grill up or I'm gonna put them in the pot, but I need some lunch
Okay.
because I've been home alone for a few days. My daughter went away to a camp, and my wife is away this weekend at a funeral. She comes
Okay.
back tonight, so I'm not sure. We might have some crabs or something. That's what I'm
Okay.
thinking about. Crabs is looking good right now. Or I might take her up the road for a crab cake. We're
So
gonna do
hold
something.
on, Jack. Now we in a good conversation.
Y'all
What's
come
your
over
crab?
my way, man.
No,
Good
what's your
food.
crab cake place?
I got Kempmore. I got oh, there's one over on the Western Shore, Hellas and G&M.
G and
Man,
M.
they got
I
crab
know
cakes
GM.
this big,
Yes,
man.
sir. Yes, sir.
And
GM is one of my favorites. I like Jimmy's. Um,
Timbuktu used to have a good crab cake. I ain't been there in a
Timbuktu is
while.
a good one. The other place I used to go, I go to
Which Jimmy's you talking about?
huh?
Which Jimmy's are you talking about?
The one in Bowie.
Bob? One
Is
where?
that Jimmy's or is that something else?
What are you saying? Baltimore?
No, Bowie. Bowie. Is that Jimmy's or is that something else?
No, that's I know what you're talking about. It's new there, right? Been there about 5, 6 years, maybe 7.
Probably more than that.
Yeah, I think they used to be in Lanham.
They got a spot in Lanham. Exactly. You know exactly
Yeah,
what I'm
that's
talking
the
about.
original spot. What? Nah, I know, dude. I've done a lot of drinking and carrying on with the owner of that place. What is that restaurant called? It's not
Oh,
called Jimmy's.
it's not Jimmy's. It's not Jimmy's. But whatever it's called, that's my one of my
Yeah,
signature.
that's nice too.
I also do the spot in Clinton called Blue Waters. They do a good crab cake.
Yeah, I
Um,
heard of them. I ain't never been there.
I used to go to a spot in uh what was it? It's Fells Point. I used to go to Fells Point, and there was a restaurant or a bar we used to go to. Um, actually, because this was right before Josh was born. It was like one of the it was my summer of fun, and it may have been Mike's. I don't remember the exact name of it, but we would go in, and they had a crab cake as an appetizer, and we'd grab 2 of those. Me and my friend
Jerry's Seafood.
Jerry's.
Jerry, that's my man Jerry. Shout out to Jerry.
Thank you. I knew it was a J.
I had it on tip of my tongue, and like I say, I know the guy. He's friends with my boy on the other end of the island, and that's how I met him. But
Okay.
we went there the first time. I took my wife to Jerry's in Lanham, trying to impress her and everything. You know, I knew that was a little bit more money place.
Right.
So we roll in, and I guess this is back in 92.
Okay.
I take my wife in there as my girlfriend, or as a future girlfriend right there, and I said, look at the menu. I said, God damn, $12 for a cup of cream of crab soup. You know,
Right.
I'm blown away. Nowadays, that's probably normal price. But back then, it was hot. So he says, sir, would you look over your right shoulder? I turned, man, they had this cup like that and a snowball of crab meat on top. I was like, yeah, we'll have 2 of those, please.
Yes, sir.
And it was just full of like senators and all kind of important people was in there, man. It was something. And then when he moved to Bowie, that's when I met Jerry. And then I ran into him over here on 10 Island at my boy's party. He a wild dude. He's a pretty funny dude. But yeah, Jerry's.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I knew it was. I knew it started with a J. But yeah,
I couldn't believe I forgot it.
that's one of my spots I always go to for a crab cake. But for me today, I think I'm doing a shrimp and rice dish. I got to figure out the details of how I'm doing this. And then lunch, I don't know. I think I'm doing something simple for lunch. I'm probably gonna be like a 12-year-old kid and do some nuggets and fries for lunch.
That's what I did yesterday.
Yeah.
No fries, just some nuggets. I'm trying to Leave them fries alone. And when I do get fries, I get a small fry now.
Yeah, we come to the end, but we normally wrap this thing up. You got anything you want to wrap the show up with?
Sideline Junkies with BC and JC edition.
All right. We're
Nah.
going to do what he said. Thank you for watching.
Yes, sir.
Tuesday for our next show. It's BC. It's JC. We don't do no overtime. We are out of here. Thank you.